Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and today we're gonna take Taco Tuesday to the next level. Because we're gonna be making tacos that are not probably the typical types of tacos you're used to making, but they're gonna be some of the best you've ever put into your mouth inside of a little tube of whether it be a soft flour thing or a little shell of crunch. Guys, we're making Korean beef style tacos. A little bit unconventional, but the flavor is 100% there. And I'll tell you something right now, we're talking the most tender beef ever. And there's a little bit of an interesting ingredient in there. Yeah, I'm talking pears. I know, pears, so weird. But wait until you see what it does and how amazing it makes the sauce. So get your bibimbap bibs on and let's go right to the Instant Pot and make some amazing Korean style beef tacos. Alright, so let's begin by taking 6 whole cloves of garlic, and I just want to smash them. You can use the flat side of a knife to do that. Just press it down a little bit, and you'll see they'll be lightly smashed, and that's all I want to do for the time being here. And now I want to take about 1 1/4 ounces of fresh ginger, and I want to peel that, and I want to just kind of roughly chop it up, very, very roughly. And now we're roughly chopped. Alternatively, if you don't have like a 1 1/4 ounce amount of ginger here that's fresh, this stuff is amazing. Squeezed ginger. Use about 2 to 3 tablespoons of that. That'll do the trick just fine. You can also use minced ginger as well. But I have fresh, so guess what? That's what I'm using. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so in a food processor or a blender, I now want to add in a 14 to 15 ounce can of pears. Now, I like to use one that's no sugar added or the light syrup. It really doesn't matter because we're going to be draining it completely. But just make sure you just get some pears. About a 14 to 15 ounce can. Alternatively, if you want to use fresh pears, I would suggest anju pears and use about 2 of them and peel them and core them. And I just opened and drained my pears. It doesn't matter if they're half pears or sliced pears. It's all the same thing. They're all about to get pulverized anyway. I'm going to add my ginger and my garlic. A 1/2 cup of low sodium soy sauce or tamari, or you can use coconut aminos. A 1/4 cup of light or brown sugar. Just make sure it's tightly packed into that 1/4 cup. A 1/4 cup of honey. A 1/4 cup of hoisin sauce, and you can typically find this in any supermarket near the Asian section, typically with the soy sauces. 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. It can be toasted or regular, it doesn't really matter. And optionally, 1 teaspoon of fish sauce. Now, this stuff smells pungent, it does. And I'm telling you right now, if you just smell it, you're gonna be like, I might not want to put this in there, but it adds such unbelievable flavor when it's combined with everything else. Trust me, if a guy like me can handle this in a dish, I'm sure most people can, because I'm very picky sometimes. And you could also get this in the Asian section, right by the hoisin sauce and the soy sauce. Alright, so I'm gonna secure my food processor here, get the lid on, and now it's time to puree it all. Alright, and once we are looking like this, we're perfect. Alright, I'm going to remove this, and now we're going to prepare our meat. And now the cut of meat I want to use for this is a 3-pound chuck roast. Guys, I can't stress this enough, use a chuck roast meat for this. It makes such a difference. It's going to shred into the most amazing, tender, melt in your mouth tacos. Alright, so all I want to do is just literally just cut it into chunks like this, because at the end of the day that it's going to get shredded up once they've been cooked. So after I've cut them like this, I'm just going to cut them again into pieces like this. So again, just nice sized chunks. Alright, and you see that? All the meat cut into nice big chunks. Alright, so let's give this meat a marinated bath. I'm going to take a Ziploc bag or a freezer bag, a gallon size one, throw them all in. Perfect, just like that. And remember our marinade? Now we're going to pour all of it over the meat. Lovely. Alright, now I'm going to kind of just trying to get the air out of the bag, just, press it down to that part. And as we seal the top, just make sure the air is out. And there we have it, guys. All of our meat is going to be sitting in this amazing, simple Korean barbecue style marinade. So good. Now personally, I think it makes a huge difference if you do marinate it, because we're gonna let this sit in the refrigerator for at least 8 hours. I'm really gonna probably go for 24 hours. And I'll continue this tomorrow, but don't worry, the video will be moving on directly in the next moment. But if you don't have the time, you can simply just cut the meat up, make the marinade, and then just pour the meat and the marinade right into the Instant Pot and cook. It's still gonna be great, but of course, I'm telling you now, it makes a difference if you marinate it. And another reason when we cut the meat into chunks like we did, not only will it cook more quickly in the Instant Pot, but the flavors are going to seep more into the meat because it's more of it, basically. We cut it into smaller pieces so the marinade can really seep in there. Alright, we're going to pop this in the fridge, and I'm going to do it. Alright, I'm going to pop this in the fridge for 8 to 24 hours. I'm going to go for 24. And we're going to move on right after that. See you soon. Okay. And just like that, I've sped up time, and it's been 24 hours since my meat's been marinating. Again, you could do it for 8 hours even if you want, or not at all, but I really feel like it's gonna add a lot more flavor. Look at my nice worn out Instant Pot. You see that? That's because there's so much loving going on in this pot. Probably over 1,000 things were cooked in this pot. Probably over 1,000 things were cooked in this pot. All right, so here's my meat that I'm taking out of the fridge, nice and marinated, and I'm simply going to empty the contents of the bag and all the marinade directly into the Instant Pot. And you can squeeze any excess marinade out of there, kind of almost like it's a piping bag with frosting or icing. And there it is, all my beef. And that's literally it, guys. Just dump it in there. Okay, now I'm gonna secure my lid, make sure that I'm in the sealing position, and we're gonna go to the control panel on the pot, and we're gonna hit the pressure cook or manual button, depending on your model. And I wanna go for 35 minutes at high pressure, guys. And that's all I wanna do. 35 minutes, high pressure. If this option lights up, let it stay on normal, but high pressure, 35 minutes. All right, now that the pressure cooking cycle is complete, we're gonna allow a 10-minute natural release. That means we do nothing until this starts to count up, which is what happens when a pressure cooking cycle is completed. It's gonna count up, and when it hits 10, that means 10 minutes have passed, and we'll finish it with a quick release. So again, this is called a 10-minute natural release. And those 10 minutes have passed, so let's finish it off with a quick release. And the pin just dropped, so we're gonna get that lid off. And there it is, guys. There's all my beef, looking amazing. I'm gonna take some tongs here, and I'm going to now just transfer it to a bowl, and you're gonna see the meat is super, super tender and delicate at this point, which is perfect because we're gonna be shredding it apart in 2 seconds. So again, transfer all the beef right to a bowl. All right, and there we go. And now I'm gonna shred this up with a couple of forks. And guys, you see all this extra broth? Perfect, leave it there. We're gonna use it and drape it over some of our beef as soon as it's shredded. Plus, you could save some if you want for some rice or whatever you want to do with it. It's amazing as gravy. Alright, so now with my 2 forks, I'm literally just going to go like this, and look at the meat, guys. It's just shredding apart. Just go through it, shred it to the consistency you like. I like it basically totally shredded. Some people also like to use like a hand or a stand mixer to shred, and that's fine, but just be wary because if you do it too hard, it can become a little bit mushy almost, and you don't want that to happen to the meat. You want it to be nice and tender, but also a little supple. And this couldn't be easier to shred apart. It's literally just doing it on its own. It's basically like a Korean-style barbacoa taco. Alright, and now that we're all shredded, this is when I take the amazing sauce, gravy, whatever you want to call it, and I can ladle it over my meat. And this is exactly what we want to do. Don't put too much in there. Just start with about, 2 ladles full should be enough. If you want more, add more. And we add that in there not only for extra flavor, but it also keeps the meat super moist and juicy. Yeah, that looks good. And again, if you want to add more of the gravy, by all means, feel free to. It's totally up to you. Sometimes you just want to pound your meat, and sometimes you want to shred it. Alright guys, let's make a taco. Okay, I'm gonna take about like I can say an enchilada-sized tortilla, but you can use any size. You can use taco size, fajita size, enchilada, burrito, whatever you want to do. That's up to you. And you can use any kind: flour, corn, low carb, whole wheat, whatever you want to do. But this is actually a mix of flour and corn. All right, so I actually want to make a little bit of a sauce for this, and it's very simple. It's going to be some mayonnaise and a little bit of sriracha. I'm just going to mix that together because I love a delicious sriracha mayonnaise. It's as simple as that. And you could add any other kind of sauce you want into this. You don't have to be conventional. You could add, tzatziki if you want. So I'm just going to layer some of that in there. All right, lovely. And now I'm going to take some of the shredded beef, put it on there. And because this is Korean style, guys, there's this amazing thing called kimchi. Now, if you don't know what kimchi is, it's a Korean style cabbage that's been fermented, and it can be spicy, it can be not spicy. You could typically find it in a bunch of markets in the produce section, usually in jars or a container, and they vary on the size. You can get it pretty much at any Asian market, that's for sure. Or if you don't want kimchi, it's not your style, you don't feel adventurous in trying it, it's so delicious. It's like a pickled, like I said, it's like a pickled Korean cabbage. You can just use regular shredded cabbage. I'm just gonna add a little bit of the kimchi to the top. Some people also like to put some crushed peanuts on there if you want. That's up to you. You don't have to do that. Again, the sky's the limit. You can make this however you wish. All right, and now I'm going to roll this up. And I have me a Korean beef taco. So juicy, so tender, so out of this world delicious that we're gonna eat it up right now. Let's do it. All right, guys, here's my taco, and here we go. Just stop. The flavors are insane. Just stop already. I mean, just stop already. I'm like angry it's that good. The flavor is to be savored. Wow, wow, wow. Guys, this is one of the easiest things in the world to make. You saw how easy this is. And the payoff is beyond anything you could have ever expected. The pears, coupled with the ginger and the sweet of the brown sugar and the honey and the hoisin sauce in there, and of course the soy sauce, garlic, everything tied together in that marinade is heaven. And then of course, if you want to make it a taco and then you want to roll it up with a little bit of like the Sriracha mayo and then put some of the kimchi or some cabbage, maybe a little peanuts, whatever you want to put on top, you can do whatever you want. Wonton crisps would be nice. This becomes an exceptional, easy dish. And I can promise you now, the entire family is going to be begging you to make this one on the regular, and you're not gonna have any problem doing it because it's the easiest thing to make. And you know what? Just prep it the night before. Like if you want to marinate it, just before you go to bed, you know, after the kids are asleep and you're on your third glass of wine, you know, just make the marinade at that point and then let it sit in the fridge, and then the next day, literally dump it in the pot and go, and that's it. It's ready. It doesn't get any easier, doesn't get any tastier than an unbelievable Korean beef taco. I could eat 1,000 of these. I shouldn't, I won't, but I could. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, check out pressureluckcooking.com because I have a ton of recipes there, more coming each week. Check out my best-selling, international best-selling, of course I'm gonna say that if I can say it right, cookbook, the step-by-step Instant Pot cookbook, sold anywhere books are sold, literally. Step-by-step photos of every recipe with a finishing shot of every recipe. So there's no guessing what it's gonna look like. I mean, we have everything in here, a timing bar. You don't wanna be without this. If you have an Instant Pot, guys, if you don't have an Instant Pot, get the book. Trust me on this one. Facebook.com/pressureluckcooking and like that page for any new updates, deals on items, tips, humor, you know, things to get through life. And of course, at Pressure Luck on YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram. It's either Pressure Luck or Pressure Luck Cooking. You'll find it. Thank you so much again, guys. And when next time a little old lady pulls up in the car and asks, "Where's the beef?" Well, I'll tell you, director of this recipe, out of this world. Enjoy.